Hello humans, back again! Welcome to our second video of our series Transparent AI. And yeah, Sarush, today we are talking about affective computing and how we can model emotions. So, how we can model emotions? How do you model it? Discretely or continuously?
Wow, that's actually a really good perspective because so the easiest way is to just model discretely. Be like, okay, that's happy, that's excited, that's, I don't know, sad, that's depressed, and so on. But that's not actually how real world works, because you have spectrums, right?
What's the difference?
The difference is that a spectrum, you can have something and then you can have more of it or less of it. And I think that's a better way to model them. Alright, so let's start with the continuous model, because that's actually how real life works.
What can we use as the first dimension?
Alright, so I think that's pretty intuitive. The first dimension, to differentiate between emotions, I think that's balance, that's pleasantness, that's like their positivity. I think that's actually a good one. For example, the first thing you notice about somebody is that if they are positive or negative, right?
You're positive.
Oh, thank you. But in general, I think that's a really good indicator to separate, to use for the first dimension. So let's take pleasantness as our X dimension and put everything that we perceive as positive on the right side and negative on the left side. So something like happy, excited, joyful, they all go to this side.
But how do you differentiate between happy and excited?
That's actually a really good question, which brings us to the next spectrum, which is arousal. So if you compare joyful to happy to excited, what is the difference between them? They might be a little different in the balance spectrum, but actually what differentiates them is the arousal. For example, when I'm talking and I'm excited, you can totally say that I am more aroused in every expression I have. For example, I'm like, oh my god, that's great! So that is a really high arousal, as opposed to, oh my god, that's great. So that's a really good way to easily differentiate between emotions.
Okay, next one.
Imagine you're in the park, it's a hidden camera, so somebody is supposed to come and prank you. You're in a situation that somebody is just following you and you're just yelling and running. How do you feel on this two spectrum? Are you having a negative emotion or positive emotion?
Very negative.
Very negative.
Yeah.
Are you having high arousal or low arousal?
Very high arousal.
So you do have a really negative, high aroused state, right? Let me just explain a whole new situation and try to imagine this. I don't know, all of a sudden you are going for a date, but they just pour a bucket of ice on you. Something like that. You can't control it, all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, what the hell are you doing, right? Okay. Are you having positive emotion or negative emotion?
Negative, of course.
Negative. Are you highly aroused or low aroused?
Highly.
Really highly aroused. So, we have this situation pretty similar to the panic situation, right? That brings us to the third dimension, which is dominance and control over the situation. In the first scenario, you had no control over the situation because you were panicking, you were running away. In the second scenario, however, you had control over the situation. You had dominance, right? And that's the best candidate for third dimension. And using this three dimension, we can actually explain all of the emotions.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like a emotion cube.
Yes, exactly. That's literally your emotion cube. So everything you experience somehow lies somewhere in that cube. You just have to know where. Alright, now that we do have the models, we can use them to teach computers how to understand emotions.
Machine learning, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you so much, Sarush. Stay tuned and see ya!